Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a watch that is frankly too large for my wrist. It's the Girard-Perregaux Vintage 1945 XXL, an extraordinary watch with modern size and vintage elegance. You can see if you pull this new factory strap too far, it will pivot and break the plane of the case, which is to say, I recommend this giant and gorgeous timepiece for wrists starting at 17 centimeters circumference. Let's talk about the outright size of this watch. Now, it was released in 2010 and it was very much of the 2000s. It does have a wonderful elegance about it and a traditionalism inherent in Girard-Perregaux vintage 1945 dress watches, but the size of the watch was very much of the 2000s with 36 millimeters side to side, lug-to-lug, an incredible span of 54 millimeters, and it does wear that way with a flared conforming profile strap that extends it across the wrist. Not a thick watch, however, 12.8 millimeters thick. It's only about as thick as a sub, and it does have a cambered elegance such that once you have that correct wrist size, it does arc around the wrist. It's a handsome watch, part of the vintage 1945 series, established back in 1994. The watch channels mid-century Girard-Perregaux in a timepiece that can be considered a more robust alternative to the Reverso, and I would even say a watch with a little bit more of a masculine force, presence, and stance than the somewhat wan Cartier tank. The watch has a broad spacing between the lugs too, very contemporary at 24 millimeters, and the strap is of outstanding quality. It's just that the way it conforms to the side of the case makes it highly coherent and integrated, but it also complicates the process of wrapping it around a wrist that might be undersized for it. The clasp is equal to the case. Red gold and substantial. It protects you against droppage while donning or removing. The case is, again, not thick and beautifully cambered. It arcs around the wrist, provided you've got the wrist for it. There's a guidron at all four corners to add a little bit of strength to the case, as well as vertical definition to contrast with the sweep and arc of the case band, and a step back of the bezel to break up the sheer of the case. There's a wonderful rounded flank that allows this watch to easily slide underneath a dress cuff. So while it requires a big wrist, it does not require a tall cuff. The dial is Grand Feu Enamel, and it is truly grand. You can see white and beautiful, glossy, bottomless. It is an enamel dial with all that entails. If you look at it under a loupe, you can see slight undulations. Your cue that this is not a machine-made lacquer, but true Grand Feu enamel, fired repeatedly up to 20 times in an oven of 800 degrees centigrade. The hands are all blued, and as you can see, there's a small splash of color in the form of a few shocks of red. You have a separate dial for small seconds, you have a radial date, and you have a power reserve. 46 hours is the power reserve. The watch features, grab my nails right there, nails to the rescue, hacking seconds, and it also has a quick set function so you can rapidly step the date. So it has all of the modern refinements. The nice thing about enamel is that over time it never ages, it doesn't oxidize, it doesn't tarnish, it doesn't dim or fade the way even a lacquer dial can. It's essentially eternal and very traditional, as it was the choice during the 19th and 18th century for premium gold-cased pocket watches. The caseback featuring a Girard-Perregaux manufactured caliber, and this is the GP caliber 4000 unidirectional automatic winding. It features a 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, 29 joules. It is a slim caliber, and you can see it fits well inside the case. It features stop seconds and a quick set date, and you'll note that there is a sort of spring set unidirectional reversing wheel adjacent to the rotor, which is rendered in 18 karat rose gold. You'll also note circular Cote de Genève across the rotor and linear Cote de Genève across the bridges with an engine turned perlage across the base plate, a feature I happen to love here compared to the time-tested and well-worn and frankly slightly outdated Girard-Perregaux 3000 family. This watch doesn't use poising pins, rather it uses Edelchron and an eccentric screw beat error adjustment system. So the combination of those two, especially the Edelchron, makes this a very precise or potentially very precise movement that can take and hold an exacting regulation. I like to see that refinement, and this is a modern GP caliber released in the modern era in the 21st century, not a legacy of the 1994 3000 series. This is a watch that is built for a wrist larger than mine, but it's also built for impeccable taste, A taste for the traditional, for the beautiful, for traditional craft arts. It is a huge watch that is in no way cumbersome, ungainly, or crass, and that is the ultimate rarity in this day and age. A watch for that truly enormous arm that doesn't give up any of the elegance of the mid-century dress watch heyday or traditional Girard-Perregaux watchmaking. You can see this vintage 1945 XXL and make it yours on the watch box.